start. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Happy New Year, and hope you had a very restful holiday. Tom won't be able to join us, so I'll be leading this today's Borough Service Cabinet meeting. And pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 85 of the New York City Charter, a meeting of the Bronx Borough Service Cabinet will take place today, Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, starting at 10 a.m. virtually on WebEx. We will start roll call so that everyone can identify themselves, and then we'll go into the agenda as well. Community Board 1. Okay, Community Board 2. Community Board 3.
Good morning, all. Happy New Year. Etta Ritter, District Manager, Community Board 3.
Happy New Year. Community Board 4. Community Board 5.
Good morning, all. This is Ken Brown, District Manager, Community Board 5, reporting and ready for duty.
Thank you, Ken. Community Board 6. Community Board 7.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Carla Cabrera Carrera, District Manager, Bronx City 7.
Happy New Year. Community Board 8.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. This is Artie Malzeel, Community Coordinator at Bronx Community Board 8. Farrell will be joining shortly as well.
Thank you so much. Community Board 9. Community Board 10. Community Board 11. Community Board 12. Okay. And I know there are several city agencies with us, and also several elected offices. Let's go with the elected offices first. Councilmember Encarnacion. Councilmember Dinowitz. Councilmember Riley.
Good morning, everybody. This is Andy Twisted representing Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Andy. Councilmember Adebo. Councilmember Sanchez. Karina Sanchez. Councilmember Felice. Councilmember Stevens. Councilmember Justin Sanchez. And then Majority Leader Farias.
Good morning, everyone. Randy Melman, representing Councilmember Farias.
Hi, Randy. Thank you for being here. And then the agencies, DEP.
Good morning. Thank you. FDR to zoning DEP.
Sanitation.
Good morning. Robert Falcaro, Deputy Chief, Bronx Borough.
Department of Buildings.
Hi, good morning. Philip Arnold, Intergovernmental Liaison, Department of Buildings.
All right, and I know you have several colleagues on, and you'll also be presenting. DOT.
Teresa Cruz, Bronx Borough Commissioner here. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Health Department.
Good morning, Kenneth Johnson, Health Department, Community Affairs Team.
Thank you. Parks Department. I see Valerie on, but I'll say Valerie's on. Okay. Is there anyone here that hasn't introduced themselves yet and would like to?
Hi, Kenny Agosto from the Office of the Bronx Borough President, Community Boards Unit, and happy to be with you in this new year.
Thanks, Kenny. Yes, and we have several members of our community board unit on here as well. And with that, if you have any announcements from your agencies, we'll leave that for the end of the agenda. But first, we would like to introduce the new Department of Buildings Bronx Borough Commissioner, Shintan Desai. Welcome to the Bronx Borough Service Cabinet meeting. We would love to get an introduction from you and your team, and then followed by that, we'll have Department of Transportation.
Hi, good morning and thank you. My name is Shintan Desai. I'm the Bronx Borough Commissioner for DOB starting September 15th. The prior commissioner retired. I have been with the department for 11 years now, serving as the Deputy Borough Commissioner for Manhattan as my last role. So I'm here. If anyone needs assistance, you can always reach out to my IGA folks, Philip and Nairobi, who are on the call. And we've already had some discussions with few of the members here in the past 2 or 3 months. And I'm ready to serve and happy to serve in the Bronx. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And I do have, just a general flag, which I'll announce more later at the end of the agenda. But we've noticed a lot more, and I know this is more for FDNY, but of course, with the presence of more fires during the winter season, that's a lot of interagency coordination, especially with DOB, making sure, in the event of a fire, after fire, I know you make sure that you have your engineers on site to make sure the building, either residential or commercial, is structurally sound. Can you kind of walk us through if there are any tips or information that would be helpful for our community board folks here that they could pass along that would be helpful from Department of Buildings perspective with regard to, fire safety or fire prevention?
So we usually have periodic inspections of the units, but a lot of these fires, are, from what we've heard, is a freak accident sort of, and being they are older buildings, it does affect a lot of people in that particular building. Our engineers, the FBU, which is the forensics unit, is always on site when such fires happen. They inspect the buildings for structural stability, to make sure people can live, they vacate or seal off buildings as required. So if there is a particular concern for something that was, let's say, missed, or something that after the inspection looks precarious, please reach out. We can always send inspectors out as soon as possible, immediately to cover and to get more safety for the people and the surrounding area. Right? We also issue what we call emergency declarations and immediate emergencies, which have to be taken care of in 48 hours. With reference to sealing the property or fencing it up, or even in case where there are facade failures, to have a shed or a scaffold. So all these precautions are taken, but again, the community, whoever's out there, if they reach out, we will be active and we will assist the best way we can.
Thank you so much. Does anyone here have any questions for DOB? It doesn't necessarily have to be fire related. If there are any flags that you want to bring up now, feel free to chime in. Okay, seeing none.
I did have my hand up.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Go ahead.
okay. Good morning, all. Thank you so much for that. So just recently, hi, I'm Etta Ritter again, with 3, and I've had something on my agenda for quite some, no, not really that long, but for a couple of months, and it's being addressed. It's regarding an easement, right? And I noticed though when I first received the complaint about cars being parked within this easement, it seems like everybody was like a little afraid of tackling the issue. But I was able to get some resolve. I was able to get some inspectors out to issue some summonses regarding cars parked within the easement. I now would just like for you, if you can, to just explain to me, like I kind of understand, but I really want you to explain to me the conditions of an easement. Why do we have easements? And because I understand it to be, it's reason, the reason why we have easements is for utility or water access, right, behind properties. However, this is a large area where cars are being parked and stored and even being worked on, right, on this particular easement I'm referring to. So, like, and they, like I said, they received summonses for having the cars parked there. So what do I have to do? I have to keep putting in 311 complaints so the inspectors can keep going back out there until they move the cars, because right now the cars are still there. They haven't moved any of the cars. So I just want you to be able to explain to me, how do I move forward and really getting this easement issue resolved?
So easement is a legal recordation between the property owners, right? It could be various things. You already touched upon the 2 or 3 things like utilities, access. Sometimes they are landlocked properties and people need fire egress access, fire department access. So that happens. Sometimes it is based on light and air, right? If you have a property which is next door to you and you want a sufficient setback to get light and air into your property. So there are all kinds of different easements. We have a whole buildings bulletin on our website.
Okay.
I think there are 8 or 12 templates of easements, different kinds.
Oh.
But there could be more specific to property.
Okay.
The other important thing to note is some of these streets that we see that are, at least the one you're talking about, when I reviewed with my inspectors, sometimes they are designated as streets, right, as unmapped streets. So that could be completely a BOT jurisdiction, but it is part of a street. So we had a couple of incidences like that we looked into where somebody encroached on the streets. That's so we take action accordingly. The other important thing to note is all our violations are based on lot and block and the bin number. We can't go and give violations. So you saw the last email where you responded and the inspector said that we are waiting to create 3 more bins in order to take more action, right? So that's how everything works. For us to post anything, any vacate, any whatever you call the unsafe violation, etc., we need to have a property address, which is a building information. So that is being worked on. Now, as far as you're concerned with what is happening, right? We enforced it, and we give them time. We can do re-inspections if required, or we give them failure to maintain or failure to comply, additional violations, and then that's how the process goes. We follow up with the IGA folks. They are on top of it. They update me whenever required, and I reach out to my inspections, and we get people out there as required. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get clarity on that. So it'd be just failure to comply if I have to resubmit.
Yeah.
311 complaints. Okay. All right.
Yeah, unless you see something really like, fire or something happen in the car, that's a different issue. But in the general terms, it will be a failure to comply to the already given violation.
Right.
Okay?
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Etta, if you have any issues, we're also happy to help follow up with that as well. Any other questions to DOB? Okay, with that, thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome to stay for the remainder of our Borough Service Cabinet meeting. But before I go to item number 2, I do want to recognize that Councilmember Justin Sanchez's Chief of Staff is on. Hello, do you want to introduce yourself? I'm not sure if you can hear me. You're on. We can't hear you, but
Can you hear me now?
yes.
All right, this is day one on my new computer, so forgive me. Hi, everyone. My name is Saif Lashaw. I am the Chief of Staff for newly elected Councilmember Justin Sanchez in the 17th District. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome. We're glad to have you. And then I also want to recognize CB6. Raphael has joined us, and also DCWP, Department for Consumer Worker Protection. Ryan, is there anyone else who joined? Just want to be able to recognize you. Okay. Moving to agenda number 2, thank you so much, DOB, and our new DOB Bronx Borough Commissioner. Item number 2 for today is a presentation by the New York City Department of Transportation on a street design manual presented by Cash Langford, who is the Associate Urban Designer with the Department of Transportation, Cityscapes and Franchises. Welcome. I think you should be able to share your screen if you have your presentation, but feel free to introduce yourself.
Great. Yes. Thank you very much for that introduction. Good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. I am going to share, if you haven't heard about it, I'm going to share about the street design manual and give a little bit of an introduction on how you can use it. So let's see, I'm not used to WebEx, so forgive me a moment.
We could see it.
Okay, great. Thanks for confirming. Okay, great. So I usually do a poll question to see who has and hasn't heard about the street design manual before today, but I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing like everyone at one time. So I'll just move right along. So why are we here? Again, I'm here to raise awareness about the street design manual and also give a little bit of an introduction on how you can use it so that you can go back to your respective neighborhoods and hopefully implement things in the street design manual in your communities. So first off, I'm going to answer the question about why New York City needed a street design manual. So first, in a city like New York, it's crucial that design standards keep pace with the needs of our city as they are ever changing. The street design manual is a way that we ensure at DOT that there's a central location for DOT standards to be communicated broadly to the public and other city agencies. This all helps to provide consistent, high quality, and people-centered designs across all of our projects. Secondly, the street design manual provides a shared language, ensuring coherent streetscapes throughout the city. So what that means is whether you're in the Bronx, Queens, or Brooklyn, the same principles apply so that the city feels connected and predictable for everyone. Next, the manual reflects our lessons learned throughout the decades, ensuring that we're always improving what is on our streets and also encouraging ongoing innovation and best practices. Like here's our parcel delivery that's new and innovative. And then lastly, the street design manual serves as a useful tool that consolidates our guidance across our agencies. Numerous are on this call today. So instead of working in silos, the manual gives us one coordinated reference point for the manual and a language to develop the projects. So next, I'm going to talk about who uses it. Our DOT staff and also other city agencies that are on this call rely heavily on the manual when designing projects, but it's also meant to be for community boards and committees like yours when reviewing proposals and providing input on projects in your neighborhoods. It's also meant for design professionals and developers who need to meet city standards. We also cater and have very accessible language in in the manual so that academics and other advocates who want to learn from this resource can take it and see how they can apply it. So it's really meant to be a practical tool so that we can all use it to hold projects to the highest standard and push for designs that really fit our neighborhood context. A little bit of history about the street design manual and before we get into what's new in this latest edition. So the first edition of the street design manual was introduced in 2009. It was very aspirational in setting a foundation of what could be possible in New York City. So we looked to a lot of European cities at that point to see what we could do in New York City. By 2013, the City Council had passed legislation to ensure that the manual is updated every 4 years. And since 2020, the manual has been online. And then now in 2025, in April, we published our latest 4th edition, and that continues this evolution of the street design manual being a living document that responds to how New Yorkers actually use their streets. Next, I'll introduce a little bit about what's new. I really encourage you to visit the Street Design Manual website. If you haven't already, we did a full revamp of the landing page, and many different chapters throughout the whole entire website have been updated with new content. Please refer to the Street Design Manual website for any of your latest resources. So, and it's also adaptable so that you can view it on mobile and on a tablet of various screen sizes. And then for those of you that might be unfamiliar with the content pages within the Street Design Manual, they're all similar as you go through the chapters, from process, geometry, materials, lighting, etc. They're all set up the same way, and this is on the website as well so that you can see the different chapter structure. Here we have the table of contents and a navigation panel on both sides. And then we usually have a diagram that's helpful to call out the treatment that we're talking about. For this example, we have raised crosswalks. And then we give a little explanation about what a raised crosswalk is. We have images of real world examples in the city and where they're located. And then we go through the main content, which is some benefits, considerations, specific things about design that needs to be emphasized, and other kind of specifications about that. And so other things that are new content-wise in the Street Design Manual are recently outgoing Commissioner Ydanis Rodriguez. His big push was to get equity as a principle in the DOT Street Design Manual. And so for the 4th edition, we successfully incorporated that into our principles. So this is one of the most important updates for this edition. And it really solidifies that equity has always been an emphasis for DOT, and we aim to create vibrant and connected and resilient public spaces that serve New Yorkers all throughout the city. In addition to the equity principle, we did some reorganization of the geometry chapter so that we have a clear organization for policies and plannings if you're looking for that. We also have sections for pedestrian-oriented designs if you're focused on, crossing intersections or sidewalks and things like that. You can go to these kind of sections here. And then we have mode-specific designs. In addition to geometry, we have new key consideration sections. This information is very important for the understanding of the whole chapter. So I really recommend that you check out the key considerations for each chapter before really diving into the content pages, just to get a general understanding of what the chapter is and then going into your content pages. We also have a fully revised activations chapter. If you're familiar with the street design manual, this chapter was called programming. We have switched the naming to activations, and the emphasis of the chapter is how we can design our streets and public spaces to better accommodate these activations. So that's pretty exciting. We have a lot of sizing of common activation components, but which might be helpful in your planning of open streets or any kind of other sort of programming that you want to do. So you have these kind of common dimensions so you can figure out how many pop-up tents can I get in this area? How much space do I need for a yoga class or something like that? So hopefully you'll find this chapter helpful in your planning efforts. This is a new tool, the Spec Finder. It's a little bit for our like engineering nerds and designers that really like to geek out about that. It's a great way to find the specifications and details that are held at DOT so that we can ensure that our standards are being upheld citywide. Lastly, for this fourth edition, we have brand new case studies that you can check out. This is a great way to go and see exactly what the process was to get this realized and see how you can mimic this process if you want to get a similar project in your neighborhood. So it's a great way for communities to understand the process and inspire, what can be done in their community. And so with that, I thank you. I hope that from this presentation, you've learned about the street design manual, and I hope that you're eager to go check it out. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Cash, for letting us know. I didn't know too much about it either. Does anyone have any questions about the manual?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you. So if we have an issue with our charter schools and the increase of buses in our district, some of the buses are driving the wrong way, and they have just created a little bit of traffic chaos in our community. If I wanted to go and read any of these sections, which one would you recommend? Because we're planning to have individual meetings with charter schools and a lot of agencies bring to the table just so we can brainstorm what the issues are. Why are the buses driving in the opposite direction of traffic to get into the schools to drop off children? So just as we plan those meetings, what areas in the website would you recommend that we go and look into?
That's interesting. I'm just as baffled by that behavior as you are. But I think a lot of where I would point you would be the geometry section. That's a lot of where we discuss how we lay out our right-of-way, which is our streets and sidewalks. And we do talk about turning movements and things like that. So with that issue, I'm curious to think about what issues might the bus drivers be having with the current movements. Are those not manageable? We do have Darissa, the Bronx Borough Commissioner, on here. I'm not sure if she might be able to assist a little bit of that. You said you
Yeah.
had a meeting coming up. Hey, Darissa.
Hey, yeah, I was just gonna add that we also have like an entire school safety team. So if you send us the locations where this is happening, we're happy to have them take a look. And then they use the street design manual as a tool to kind of figure out what the best roadway geometry, or if there's any other changes, maybe some curbside management that we need to do to kind of assist here. But happy to be helpful. Just send me the locations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Kenny.
Just a quick question. In terms of studies for like traffic studies that get implemented, does the street design manual lend itself to such requests?
No, so the street design manual, I mean, traffic studies definitely happen as a part of all of our redesign projects and street reconstructions. The street design manual is really the resource where it's meant as a communication tool, so to provide our standards and guidance. So you can look to the street design manual to know how we're approaching projects, but it's not really a mechanism for like making requests or complaints or or communicating with DOT. Like I would still recommend that you go to DeRissa's office and things like that. And the street design manual is mostly a tool so that you can look if your community wants to shorten a crossing or something like that, and they have no idea what a curb extension is, you can use the street design manual as a tool to go to that curb extension page in the geometry chapter and really discuss how that tool is used to shorten crossings and make pedestrians safer at the intersections, and kind of use it as a guiding tool for educational purposes.
Thank you.
Of course.
And also, I'll just add, I'm going to put a link into the web form, which is like a way that any single person could submit any request related to DOT. So even if it's not in the Bronx, but it's in the 5 boroughs, you could submit through there. And that's how like our agency internally will take a look at whatever request is made. And to Cash's point, it's kind of like our way of explaining to the public in a way that's easily digestible, like what these things are. Sometimes we do presentations and people are like, can you explain again, like what is this term? And that's kind of like our holy grail of like where you can go to get any explanation of what any of these items are.
Thank you so much and welcome aboard, you guys.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to hold y'all up. If there's no other questions, I'll dip out, but I do appreciate your time and Happy New Year. Have a great meeting.
Thank you
Bye,
so
everyone.
much. Thank you so much, DOT. I do want to recognize a few folks who've joined us during the presentation. That is CB9 has joined us. Gina Williams from HRA/DSS/DHS has joined us. The Mayor's Office, Alina Dow. Welcome, happy to see you. And also I see River Alexander, Legislative Director from Councilmember Justin Sanchez's office. If I've missed you, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat if I've missed you. Okay, so on to the last agenda item, announcements. Does anyone have any announcements that they would like to do from city agencies, community boards, or elected offices? If not, I will make an announcement. First, I mentioned earlier in this meeting that our office is looking to do collaborations on hosting fire safety presentations. I know this is the season where fires are more and more prevalent in the district. Bronx seems to have a fire almost every day, every other day. We just had a 5 alarm a few days ago. This week, and I know community boards 4, 9, and 11 have recent fires in the past few months, pretty significant ones as well. So I will be reaching out to each community board. I'll work with our CB unit team to kind of coordinate the best way to host, or if there's an existing meeting or event in which we can kind of have FDNY, leverage your meeting to present as well. That would be helpful, especially with various populations that you all serve. We want to make sure we can tap into that and make sure, it's never, it doesn't hurt to always get a reminder, a refresher, and even if it's an introductory presentation to fire prevention and safety, it's always a good way to provide that information to the constituents you serve. Next, we do have our next borough board meeting on Monday, January 12th, 10 a.m. At Bronx Borough Hall. We'll send an email with the agenda items later this week. And also we have several upcoming events. Gio, I think you have the flyers. First, from our office, we are hosting a Twin Parks Remembrance, a day of honor, of reflection and honor, this Friday, January 9th. As you may recall, 4 years ago, we had a large fire that took many lives at Twin Parks. We'll be hosting this remembrance on the first floor of Bronx Borough Hall. We will also email all these flyers for our events. So this is this coming Friday. Next, we have our winter coat giveaway, which is next Thursday, January 15th from 4 to 8 p.m. Also in Borough Hall in the Rotunda. While supplies last, feel free to send it to your listserv about our coat giveaway. And then next, we also have an interfaith celebration on MLK Jr. Day, Monday, January 19th. This will be hosted by the Fellowship Covenant Church at 720 Castle Hill Avenue. So feel free to also RSVP with our special events team with the QR code and email that's listed there. Again, we will send these flyers to you. DOT, if we could get a copy of that presentation, we will also share with everyone here. I also see that there's a staff member from Councilmember Felice's office who also joins. I just want to recognize you as well. And then with that, we'll see you at the next Borough Board, Borough Service Cabinet, and wishing you all a happy and healthy new year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year's,
Thank you. Happy
everyone.
New Year.
Happy New Year.